Welcome to Easy Eats. My name is Chef Yves Dechaine, and today we're in the Greener Villages Learning Kitchen with a longtime volunteer, Larry Saunderson. Welcome, Larry. Thanks for being on the show today.
My pleasure, Yves.
So today we're going to talk about plum cake. We received a beautiful donation from a farm up Woodstock Way, bushels and bushels that we've been handing out. And again, what do you do other than eat them fresh, right, Larry? I mean, they're delicious. So
I know.
I thought that we would make a plum cake, something different, something nice. So before we get started here, Larry, tell us a little bit about yourself, Larry. Why did you decide to come and volunteer? Tell us about your journey to becoming a volunteer here with us at the Greener Village.
Well, I retired from the military in 2015 here in Fredericton, and I needed something to do to keep my time going and to do something, so I came over and checked out the food bank. And at the time they needed somebody mostly to do maintenance and stuff like that. And I did that for about a year and then moved inside with the food warehouse, handing out food. And now I've pretty much done most of the stuff in the food warehouse. And I drive down each week from Deer Island. Some people say, boy, it's a long drive, but it's worth it because every week I get here, there's enough to keep me busy for the entire time I'm here.
So what are we doing now? So you're a delivery driver kind of on Thursdays, aren't you?
I do pickups at various stores. Currently now I deliver some parts of the school lunch program. Pretty much every delivery that makes on Thursday is, not all of them, but I'll do a lot of them on Thursday. And some of them are only done on Thursdays. I guess they know I'm going to be here, so we get her done.
Well, absolutely. Fantastic. So I've always asked and always wondered, I mean, you've been volunteering for us, and we were saying this before the show, about 9 years now, which is commendable, which is fantastic. What keeps you here?
What keeps me here is the need for somebody to volunteer, and we lose volunteers all the time. So, well, I don't mind the drive, getting up early to get in here because there's a lot of people that need. When I started, we were only at about 750 clients a month. As I understand, we're over 2,200 clients a month now, so the need is even greater.
So Larry, like you said, you come in from Deer Island every week. So I guess you come in and volunteering is part of your daily routine. You come in, you must have doctor's appointments and things like that, and you're not coming in just for us.
Well, the food bank is the reason to come here.
Okay, yeah.
But I take care of my weekly library visit, banking, pretty much anything that needs to be done. I go visit the guys at Long McQuaid Music Center every week. I pretty much do everything I need to here in Fredericton on Thursdays.
Right on. And like I said, coming back to so long, I mean, volunteering, what does it mean for you? I mean, I've always liked to ask volunteers that because I know that everybody has different reasons. You said at the beginning it was to fill your time, to give you something to do. Is that still the cause? Has it kind of evolved from there?
Well, I guess the main reason was because after a long stint in the Army, always doing things for people, I was a maintainer for my last 26 years, and always fixing, building, doing things for people. I have to keep doing something like that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done here. And I think that's the main reason that keeps me coming back is the growing need. And everybody I talk to, I tell them if they have time, come on down and see there's lots of days, lots of things to do here.
Right on. And I guess the message would be, why choose us other than there's lots of things to do here?
Well, it's a pretty good, friendly working environment. Nobody asks you to do anything that you're not willing or capable of doing. And as a matter of fact, they'll go to their way of finding things that you are capable of doing. So physical impairments are no big deal around here because we'll find you something to do.
Well, that's it. We try to be inclusive. And again, you're volunteering, so you're giving of your time. So if you're going to give of your time, we may as well give you or try to find something that's enjoyable for you. And I know, Larry, you're great. You the logistics behind, like you said, you worked in the military, so having you come and deliver certain things or pick up certain things, we know that there's a routine that's going to be followed. And again, for you, we see that you enjoy it. You like talking to people and getting to meet and learn to. So having you out as an ambassador is great for us. So, and I guess I want to take the time to just kind of put that spotlight and thank you for volunteering. That's the reason for the show today, is just to kind of highlight how important our volunteers are to us and hear it firsthand on why it's important for you guys and why you're doing this for us, which is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So Larry, volunteering is, for a lot of retirees and things like that, it becomes a job or kind of a hobby. I mean, is this your only hobby? Is there other things that you explore? You seem like a gentleman that kind of doesn't like to sit still, so.
Well, I did move to Deer Island primarily so I could sea kayak anytime I want.
That's right, yeah.
I got kind of tired of the St. John River. When it froze over, I would have to drive to St. John to do some winter paddling. Now where I live, I'm 500 meters from the water and can paddle anytime, day or night. And I also play drums and sing in a local rock band. We play right now pretty much only on the island, but we're getting better every winter. So next year, who knows? We're hoping to branch out, do a couple of local rock festivals.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. And that's right, I forgot that you were an avid kayaker. Have you had a chance to go out a lot this year?
Well, I'm down only a little over 1,000 kilometers yet this year, whereas other years I'd be up 3,000 or 4,000 kilometers a year. The whale sightings have been markedly less than other years, but I was out, saw a humpback, a couple of finbacks, a northern right whale, many minkies. So that's the best part about out there, is getting out to paddle and seeing all the wildlife.
Right on. So it looks like you got everything pretty much figured out. You got a nice retirement home. You're giving back. You're coming into town and helping us out. That's fantastic.
It keeps me out of the bar.
Perfect. It keeps you out of trouble for sure. Thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself. So when we come back from the break, we'll attack this recipe, a nice plum cake that you can. And again, like you said, you're an avid kayaker. We can get this together, and you can kind of bake this on a beach, do a shore lunch, things like that. Could be kind of interesting to do. So we'll talk about more about that after this short break. Welcome back to Easy Eats. Again, we're in the Greener Villages Learning Kitchen with longtime volunteer Larry Saunderson, and we're going to be making a plum cake. So Larry, every time you're in here, you make it a point to stop in and we chat about food. And I mean, every once in a while you're like, I got to get back to work. So today's another day, but now we're filming this for posterity, I guess. So we're going to be making a plum cake. So the plum cake, and the only reason why we're doing plums is because we got an abundance of them here at the Greener Village. But that doesn't mean that you can't make it with any other stone fruit. So if you got peaches at home, or you've got nectarines, or anything like that, you can. Or again, you can use canned fruit. Will work just as well. So your canned pears, your canned plums, and things like that would work really, really well. But I mean, fresh is best, and it really, really works, and it's a great way to highlight the season. So we're going to start off by making the batter. It's really simple, and it's kind of it's called the creaming method. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a half cup of butter or margarine, depending on budget. Our butter is softened, so that way it's easier to mix things in. Then I'm going to add another half cup of brown sugar. So the recipe calls for white sugar, but you can substitute your brown sugar, which makes it it's a denser, a little bit more complex cake, and I enjoy it with the plums. If I was going to go with peaches, I would go with the white sugar just because of the fruit, right? And that's what we're doing like that, exactly. So to this, we're just going to cream, and creaming is basically just whipping this all together. Here we go.
Would this be similar to a pineapple upside down cake?
You know what? You could make it like a pineapple upside down cake. It's like a pineapple cake, but you could, honestly, yeah, you could. All we would do is we'd melt a little bit of syrup and put it at the bottom of the pan, and then arrange the plums and put that over top. It could totally become that. I like it more as almost like a coffee cake. is kind of the feel to this is what you'll get from it. So we're just creaming everything together, and that's basically just bringing the sugar and the butter together until it, well, just pretty much looks the same, fluffs up, gets nice pale in color, just like this. A lot of cookie recipes start this way. There we go. Yeah. And then to that, I'm going to add 2 eggs. So when I'm doing my eggs, and I always think it's important, is I always crack my eggs into a separate bowl just to make sure that they're still good. Because you never know. And especially here at the food bank, as though we get our eggs in fresh and things like that every once in a while, there might be one that goes awry. So again, it's better to have it be bad in here than in the batter, then we'd have to start all over again.
And way easier to pick the shells out of there.
Well, exactly, absolutely. And there we go, we'll add those 2 right there.
So can you tell just by looking at it if the egg is bad?
When you crack it open, you'll smell it, first of all. The white will look really, really cloudy, and you'll kind of tell. Okay. And then sometimes there'll be streaks. So if there's like a blood streak or something in it that doesn't look appetizing, even though a blood spot in an egg is nothing to worry about, some people don't like it. So you want to make sure that you're not getting it into your product. So, but yeah, you'll be able to smell it. Okay. It'll look foggy. There'll be something just not quite right about it. And again, when in doubt, just throw it out. All right, so we've got that in right here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon of that. Vanilla or any other kind of essence if you want. This is really nice, like an almond essence, especially with plum. Or this is the point where if you did want to jazz it up a little bit, a little amaretto in here would be really, really nice. Not a whole lot, maybe like a half ounce, just a splash, no more than you would with the vanilla. It's just a flavoring.
Peach schnapps.
Or peach schnapps would work great. And then all we're going to do is we're going to bring this together, just like this. And then I like to, there we are. And then again, we'll just bring this until it just forms and becomes and it lights. So this is how we're kind of incorporating air into it. Even though we're going to be using a little bit of baking powder, we always want to fluff or add a little bit of air to our mix. Just like this. There we go. So we're just going to set this off to the side right here, and then we're just going to incorporate all of our dry ingredients. So we've got a 1.5 cups of flour in like that. We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Salt's always important. It adds that flavor, and it kind of balances out flavor. People say, well, why do you add salt to sweet? And that's exactly what it is it just evens and equalizes flavor. Salt isn't always just for saltiness. So we've got a teaspoon and a half of baking powder, and then just a little bit of cinnamon. Now you can add nutmeg to this, a little cardamom if you want.
Ginger?
A little bit of ginger, exactly. You can kind of play up with the spices. I've been playing lately with using like East Indian spices, like a garam masala, just because it has that kind of gingery kind of feel to it, and this is kind of leans well with the plums to be a spice cake, right? Something nice for a shore lunch, like we were saying, or anything like that.
I used garam masala for French toast once. It was pretty tasty.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's got that kind of sweet and earthy kind of makes a really, really nice curry. So then all we're going to do now is we're just going to incorporate the flour. And again, we don't want to knock too much air out, even though we have a leavener in here. So I'm just going to add this in batches. Let's bring this in. And you're going to find that it's going to be a thick batter, so I have another 1/2 cup of milk that I'm going to add after I've added the second batch of flour in, just like that.
Yves, I know we have some clients that have gluten-free diets. Can you make that cake gluten-free?
Absolutely. This is one of these nice cakes. Almond flour works really nice. to make it gluten-free. It'll make the cake a little bit more dense, a little heavier, which means that you may have to bake it a little bit longer, but it'll turn out really, really well. The ones to avoid is your kind of lighter gluten-free flours. So your rice flour, your tapioca flour, those flours tend to not work for this type of cake. They'd be a little bit stodgy, exactly. So you're looking for the coconut flour or your almond flour. And almond flour is one of the ones...
more mealy flours.
The more mealy flours, exactly. You could even, if you wanted to, use a corn flour and make it almost like a cornbread, right? So at this point here, we're just going to add our milk just to loosen it up a little bit, and then we'll add the rest of our thing. So while we're doing that, Larry, I'm just going to get you to spray our 9-inch cake pan and then liberally spray it. Perfect. So my grandmother, what she used to do when she'd make her cakes, she'd dust a little bit of flour, and that would prevent it from sticking even more. But I find that it leaves that pasty ring around it and not really lent for coffee cake. If I was doing a sponge cake or something like that, I would. But this one, seeing that we're not going to be putting anything on it, we're just going to leave it as is. It's served, like I said, it's like a nice coffee cake.
So it's not an upside down?
It's not an upside down, no.
I was just wondering how parchment paper would work for
you know what? You could absolutely put parchment paper in the bottom of it as well. I spray it like that because it gives it that nice crust around, and it's that little bit of a crust.
Everybody likes the Krispies.
Exactly. There we go. So we'll just bring this together just like this. And then we'll probably take about, for this recipe, it's about 12 plums about this size. So you're looking at probably about 2 cups of plums, chopped, quartered. You can finely dice them. I like big chunks of plums, so all I did was I halved them. I washed them, I kept the skins on. They're really nice. We'll just pop them in there like that, and then just literally just fold them in. Just like this. And again, this works great. You can add a combination, so if you had peaches, plums, and those are the ones that are starting to get soft. The ones that kind of sat in your fridge or maybe on the table just a little bit too long. This works out great. Cherries. I'm trying to think about fruit that we have around here that's in season that would lend well to this. And those are...
I don't see why you couldn't put chopped apples in that.
No, you're absolutely right. There we go. We just add that to a 9-inch pan. It doesn't have to be a round pan. If you have a springform pan, that works a lot nicer because then you can just pop the edges off when you're done. But this works well, just as well. So now, all I do now is I just kind of give it a wiggle just to make sure it fills the pan, just like this. And then we're going to put it into an oven at 375 degrees. Give or take 45 to 50 minutes. So, like any other cake, when you put your fork in or your knife in, it comes out clean. So we're just gonna slide this in the oven and we'll come back with a beautiful plum cake after this short break. So welcome back to Easy Eats again in the Learning Kitchen with Larry Saunderson, a longtime volunteer and avid cook as well. Here it is, Larry, this beautiful plum cake. I always liken it to like a coffee cake. Again, if you, like we said, if we wanted to make this an upside down cake, the same batter, we would just grab the plums and we would just kind of put them in the bottom and then add a little bit of sugar on top. Okay. And that would create its own syrup. And then we would just slide it in and bake it as it is. Like I said, I like it just like this because it's perfect for, like you like to go whale watching in the kayak. This is perfect. You can either bake it ahead of time and then when you make your tea, it's nice just like that. Or if you wanted to bring it, this is a great one that you can kind of put into a tin box. You can kind of steam this as well and kind of make like a steamed pudding, I guess, if you want to go that way. But it's just really, really nice on a nice fall evening, you know what I mean, sitting on the porch, watching the colors change with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a hot cocoa.
It would be easier to eat with your fingers, I think, too.
It would be. It would be. So Larry, for anybody who's looking to volunteer somewhere, what kind of advice can you give them?
Find something that they like to do. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but the biggest thing is show up and ask what they need. Find out what they need done. Chances are, especially if you're retired, you've done enough in life that you would be able to fill a position somewhere. If not with the food bank, then with the soup kitchen downtown. There's a great many places that need to volunteer, but I am partial to food banks, so I'm going to say show up here.
Well, that's it, and you don't only volunteer with us as well. You volunteer with the Community Food Smart. We had featured them on a past episode about what they're doing with the community and the affordability and stuff like that. Yeah. What drew you to that volunteer position as well?
Well, the Community Food Smart, the food bank was a client of the Community Food Smart program when I first started working here.
Okay.
And I was asked if I would go and help pack bags, as it is. That program is also run strictly by volunteers. And I showed up, and it turned out they needed somebody else to help them run the place, and also somebody that's going to show up every month. And so I've been with them as well for 9 years as well.
And it kind of helps out because the bags that we have delivered here, you take care of, and then you also do a couple. And I hopped into your spot a couple times while you were on vacation,
yeah.
And that's a heavy load. It's quite the morning.
Yeah, and then after I do that, then I drop off some bags to other clients, and then start my normal pickup day, and come back here and just get things done.
Well, fantastic. So we've got these fresh out of the oven, so it may be a little bit warm. And then I always like to, we'll make this fancy because we're here. We'll just top a little bit of icing sugar on top, just like this.
No doily?
No doily, no. Oh, I know. I let you down. But I do have these fancy plates.
Ooh,
so here we go. Let me know what you think.
I'm going to have a plum first.
And so, like I said, it works really well like that. Peaches work well, blueberries, any kind of fruit, really. This is kind of a nice adaptable cake. All you have to do is switch out your seasonal fruit.
That's tasty.
Perfect. And again, I want to thank you on behalf of myself, Larry, because I've gotten to know you over the last few years since you started here. You're a great guy to bounce ideas off of, great conversationalist. You and I really dig music, so we talk about music. But again, thank you so much for giving of your time. I mean, it's a commitment, 9 years to come in and help us. And you've seen the evolution of the food bank, and you've been part of that evolution. And I'm pretty sure that some of your ideas have been put into rotation to make it more efficient. And again, thank you so much for being a volunteer.
Thanks for asking me to come in, Yves. I enjoy it every week.
Perfect.